making their way north through Mexico and the border and the desert and the rivers in Texas to get here. And so I would love to do it maybe someday, but for you all. But it's about an hour long. So I'm going to fast forward actually to the human cost of immigration detention, and really just focus on that. So the immigration detention is where folks end up that are unauthorized to be here in the country, and it is not supposed to be jail. It's not supposed to be. They're supposed to be basically fighting their case if they want to stay here, or they can self-deport or voluntarily remove themselves from the country, by signing a piece of paper. And a lot of times, ICE officials will try to get them to sign that without knowing what it is. But a lot of folks don't have any other choice but to be in immigration detention, because if their only other choice is to go back to their home country, where they could be in even greater danger. So right now, it's the 2012 number that there are still approximately 400,000 people that are in immigration detention, and about 250 centers across the country. And this map on the left shows where the immigrant detainees are, the immigration detention centers are throughout the country, and you can see kind of where they're congregated. The larger number, if you can't see that, means that they hold over 1,000 detainees in those centers. You can see a lot of those larger ones are in the Southwest and Texas. And so the ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, has a quota that we'll talk a little bit about later, where they guarantee that to the private prison companies that they're going to hold 34,000 immigrants every day in their beds. So there's a quota that must be reached every day of 34,000 beds in immigration. And that's why if you see that number 34,000, and we'll talk a little bit about that later on, about this mandatory bed quota, that there's another movement to just remove the quota. I don't think we'll actually end immigration detention, but if we could remove the incentive, because right now ICE has an incentive to fill those beds, then that will maybe stop the folks, getting picked up for traffic stops, and the incentive to pick up people to fill those beds. Since 2003, 141 people have died in custody. And when I was in Tucson in 2013, even at the Eloy Detention Center, where that hunger strike is, there was 2 suicides within 1 week that happened at the Eloy Detention Center.
Eloy is the name of the detention center, or the city?
That's the name of the detention center.
Is that in Florence?
It's in Florence, Arizona. Oh, see? Canosa's Florence? Yeah. There's 5 detention centers in Florence, Arizona alone. You can see it's that big, there's several big circles on top of each other in Arizona. So. Oh, yeah, it's even up there. Yeah, 1,500. It's the largest one.
Shut me up if you're going to do this anyway, but a lot of you have heard of, was it Senate Bill 1070, the Arizona bill? Mm-hmm. And I know you know this. And that was kind of the worst of the worst state laws that were very hostile to immigrants, that would create a mandatory detention of anybody the local police even had a reasonable suspicion was in the country illegally, regardless if they ever committed a crime, regardless if there was proof of that. Reasonable suspicion, you arrest them and put them in jail. That entire legislative thrust was funded and organized by the for-profit prison industry. They actually put together an extensive 3 or 4 day conference and invited all of the prison association did, and invited all the state legislators as a way of organizing for that. So
Yeah,
there's
I'm
lot
going to
of
show a
money.
video in a second that gets to some of that. But yeah, I mean, there's, you know, they're all in cahoots with each other to make a lot of money. Yeah, thanks though, bringing that up. And so abuses in detention, you know, is pretty obvious, you know, what happens here. Hi there.
Hey.